has to come from the plant Camellias. I think it's Sinensis. They could correct me if I'm mispronouncing that, but it's the tea plant, which green tea and black tea both come from. And my other suggestion would be buy the most high quality tea
The
that you
plant.
can. All right,
Camille.
so we are now live on YouTube. Welcome to our YouTube audience. It's so great that you have been able to join us today. We're talking about looking back and moving forward when it comes to anti-aging and increasing vitality. And one of the things that motivated this topic today, and I always have a couple of things on the, in line to offer to you, but I sometimes I just wait for the very last minute to bring you what I think is the most important piece of information that you need right now. Sometimes I feel like I get a God wink, like I'm like, oh, I can talk to them about this topic or that topic, and then all of a sudden I get this very, very clear message that I really need to talk to you about this topic specifically. So today, that's what happened. I need to talk to you about how to look back and how to move forward. And my God wink came from Facebook, of all places. So I am going to share my screen with you because I want to show you something that came up on Facebook. And it doesn't really matter what social media you follow, but I think one of the things that you will realize is that it keeps track of your life. It keeps track of what you've done, of what you look like. And so I had one of those memories come up this morning. And as you can see from the memory, I've actually put two pictures on the screen. The one that you see that is with the essential oil table in the background, that's from a presentation I did in New York City 7 years ago. 7 years ago, everybody. So, what is the biggest difference that I see? I see so much inflammation that has been reduced. And if you can see the picture on the right, I actually took about 20 minutes ago. So you can see I'm still in this green dress that I was wearing. And there's a kind of a fun story about that. There used to be this really cool store called Loehmann's. I don't know if anyone ever remembers the store Loehmann's, but I used to love to go shopping there. And my dear friend and business partner, Denise Schwindeman, and I went there because I was doing this presentation. We were both doing the presentation, actually. There was a whole group of us doing this really cool presentation, teaching people about essential oils and how to live a healthier life and what supplements they needed to take. And we were doing it in New York City. And we were going to be there in front of a lot of different people. And so I was like, maybe it's time to go get a special dress for the occasion. And also, Emily Wright, who um, is the CEO now, head of doTERRA. It's amazing. I'm so excited for Emily. I'm excited that we have a female CEO for the first time. She's amazing. There are 7 owners in doTERRA. She's the only woman, and not that that is so important that she's a woman. I just think it's her achievements over the many, many years that I've known her have just exponentially exploded. And I'm just so excited to be in a company now that she is driving. So if you are interested in becoming part of our doTERRA group, please reach out to me at carrie.donegan@gmail.com, carrie.donegan@gmail.com. And I would love to get you involved and get you the products that you need because it's a really cool time to be part of doTERRA. But I digress. Anyway, so I was in this really fun place, this called Loehmann's, that doesn't exist anymore, but what their the value of being a shopper at Loehmann's at the time was that they got all these beautiful designer clothes at a discounted price. And they had this really cool place called the back room. And you could go to this sort of smaller room in the store, and they had the best stuff there. And so my friend Denise said, let's go in the back room and see if we could find something really special for us to wear to this presentation. So we were looking around, and I wasn't sure at the time what I wanted. And she found this green dress and she was like, "Oh, you have to buy this dress. It's so beautiful." And it really is an amazing dress. It's wool. And if I don't know if you can see this, I just have to show you this. It's lined with a very, very thick silk satin. I mean, this dress is just absolutely gorgeous. And because it's lined with silk satin, it should just kind of fit like a glove, right, on your body. But when I put it on, it looked like it does in the picture. Now, I had Spanx on trying to make this dress fit as well as it possibly could. But even though it was technically in my size, it always rode up. You can see on this picture, I don't know if you can see over here, like I'm pulling out all the stops right now. I'm showing you all the bad, the ugly, side of everything. And I was considered thin at the time. Like nobody would have said, "Oh, she's fat." Or she's unhealthy. I was in the healthcare industry. I had been in the healthcare industry at that point for about 13 years. So I was doing all the right things. I was exercising a lot. I was a runner. Um, I never developed that really skinny runner's body, believe it or not. And I think it's because it was shooting my cortisol too high. And we've talked about that in previous episodes, but I'm happy to talk about it again. But what I noticed in this, so I bought the dress, right? At my friend's urging, I bought the dress. And I knew in the back of in my head, it just didn't fit me right. But I wore it to the presentation. I tried to stand really still like a statue so that the dress wouldn't ride up too much. I just remember being super uncomfortable, very self-conscious, but loving the dress. And maybe some of you have had this experience. So fast forward, I kept the dress, but I have to say I didn't wear it a lot because it always rode up and it just I didn't feel like I looked my best. And another dear friend of mine, Elena Jordan, had this personal stylist, and she and I wrote this book called Essential Oils Healthcare for Today. You can check it out on Amazon. And if you want. And I remember when she would talk to me about clothing, one of the things she said to me was, you have to know that when you grab something out of your closet and you put it on, that it just feels good. You feel confident in it and you feel happy in it. And if you don't, you should get rid of it. So, because this was a beautiful dress and because it was a beautiful experience shopping with my friend Denise, and because Loehmann's doesn't exist anymore, I actually didn't get rid of the dress. I don't know why. I just took it and I put it kind of in the back of my closet. And every once in a while, over that 7-year period, if there was a day where I felt like particularly brave or particularly skinny, or I thought like having a green dress would feel cool, I might pull it out. But I didn't really wear it very much until I started MetaPower and until I started to use the things that I was learning over the last, I'm going to say 2 years, maybe a little bit more, but let's just say 2 solid years. This is when the science of longevity started to really hit in terms of really solid research, leading doctors talking about it, our company doTERRA talking about it. And that's where it started. They started with, why are we breaking down? Why do we have metabolic issues? And for those of you who need a little refresher course, a metabolic issue can be anything from diabetes to PCOS to an autoimmune disease to cancer to cholesterol issues, blood pressure issues, sleeping issues. Oh, and by the way, back then I really wasn't sleeping. So over the last 3 months, I've cracked the sleeping code. And I think I've talked to you about the Serenity sleep system, but it absolutely works. And I can give you more information about that, but I don't want to try to jam too much in today's episode. But all of these little components that were missing in my life, even though I was living a healthy lifestyle and I was trying to teach other people about living a healthy lifestyle, I hadn't been able to crack every single solitary code. Now you can see I put the dress on today, fits like a glove, not wearing Spanx, feeling like $1,000,000 in it. It really is the dress that I had always wanted it to be. But it took me, quite frankly, probably 6 years for the dress to actually be mine, for the dress to fit the way it was supposed to fit. And so I hope that some of the things that come from this are number one, hope, that you understand that it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how sick you are, it doesn't matter how weak you are, or how much courage you lack right now, where you feel your deficiencies are, your insecurities are. You can today start to move forward in a really positive way. But I'm going to encourage you to do some looking back. Now, if you're a person who's been on social media for a while, this is kind of easy because social media keeps track of our life and not our fake life. Like, I know we all do it. We put up all the sunshine pictures, we put up all the great events, and some of them are the way we portray them, and some of them are probably inflated, to make it look better than it is. That's not what I'm talking about. If you need to talk about like how you're portraying your life on social media, then that would be a great thing to talk to a friend about or a therapist about, and all of that stuff is really important. But what I'm talking about is, let's drill down to your health and actually take a look at some of the markers that we like to pay attention to. And pictures can, speak a thousand words. So I want you to be brave, and I want you to go back into your social media photos, and I want you to look back. You can start by doing a 3-month look back. You can do a 6-month look back. You can do a year look back. And for some of you, this is going to be a really positive experience. And for some of you, this may be a really discouraging experience, because we do change over time. Change is something that is constant. It is true. We can't stop changing. But if we understand where we were and where we are, we can make choices about how we're moving forward. But to do that, we really have to look back. And let's talk about some of those markers. So, from the pictures, I want you to look at inflammation. Do you think your face looks puffy? Do you think, I mean, I never even realized that. I always thought my arms were fat, even though I was like lifting weights and trying to do all the right things. What I realize now, they probably weren't as fat as they were inflamed. And why do I feel that? Because I could see the inflammation in my face and in my arms. So it's important for us to understand the difference between markers, right? So are you inflamed? Do you feel swollen? Do you get numbness or tingling? Do you feel like your circulation isn't working? Do you get cold hands and feet when you really shouldn't have cold hands and feet? What does your hair look like? I have some other pictures that I saw yesterday that I didn't prepare for this morning, but of my hair loss journey. If any of you have been watching this program, you know that I lost a tremendous amount of hair a little bit over a year ago last year. So it was just around November, my hair started to fall out for 3 straight months, and it was a little bit scary. But again, I did some adjustments to my lifestyle, adding in things, taking things out to improve that. And I have documented my hair loss journey pretty well. So you can do a search either on YouTube or Facebook to see some of that. But even now, you can see like I had this all came in over the last year. I don't have layers in my hair. In fact, I haven't cut my hair, as you can see, in quite some time, because I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the new hair. So I'm just kind of letting it grow out. But the positive thing is, I know from the results that what I'm doing is putting me on the right path. Now, some of the things that I had to adjust 3 months ago was I really needed to find a good sleep system. And thank God doTERRA came out with one. And that was sort of I thought, the last piece of the puzzle in getting me on a health span program, this thing that we started off talking about, health span versus lifespan, right? Like how the quality of your life versus how many years in the calendar that you're living, right? Really feeling like you're getting younger with age, more vital with age. All of that seemed to kind of fit in until I found out about the microbiome a few months ago. So we're learning constantly. And as we learn, we adjust. All right. So again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to remind you that no matter where you were and what your goals are and what your goals were and where you are now, please do not get frustrated. Okay. Please do not get frustrated. I would say that my sleep journey probably took me 7 years. That's not an exaggeration. It may have even been longer. I don't even want to look back that far. And I don't think you have to. I think the ideal is not to go back more than maybe 3 years because your body changes. Every cell in your body changes over every 3 years. And I was listening actually yesterday to Deepak Chopra, and I don't know where this clip is, but if I find it, I can share it in the comments section on YouTube. But what he was saying is that if you're sick right now, you have to remember that the cell that makes up the area of your body that's sick is going to change. They're going to turn over within the next months, weeks, years. And your mind has an influence. Your actions have an influence. Your food, your supplements, your lifestyle, your sleep, all that have an influence on whether that healthy or unhealthy cell replicates in a healthy or an unhealthy way. And that should give you a lot of peace of mind. Now, this is not medical advice. This is sort of metaphysical advice. All right. And there's a difference. Medicine looks at an acute problem and it takes it where it is and it deals with it where it is. And there's value to that. And I always recommend that you work on your own health plan with a physician. But what I have found is that if you can align your body in a place of peace and healing and prosperity and vitality, that as you age, those cells will also replicate along that pathway. And a lot of people much brighter and more knowledgeable than I can take this topic very, very deep. So like I said, this comment was inspired by Deepak Chopra, and he was talking about our physical health and our mind, right? And the spirit, he calls it, the thing that creates who you become, right? And your understanding and your connection to that spirit. And I think many of us live super busy lives and we just plow through mindlessly. And not because we don't care, but just because we don't have time. So I'm going to give you 3 things to do as we close today to put you on a path forward that's going to be super positive. 1, I really want you to take the time to look back. Cut out 15 minutes today. I don't care, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. In that 5 minutes, I want you to find a picture of yourself within the last year so that you can actually see changes. I want you to write down what you love about what you see and what you don't like about what you see. From that list, I want you to come up with one goal for the coming year. What would you like to work on? And like I have shared with you, I've worked on things from sleep to exercise to hair growth. You can be very, very specific with what you want in the future. Then the second thing that I want you to do is I really want you to, whether you check out my podcasts and instructions or read books or go to other podcasts, I want you to go to the experts and the expert information. And I want you to really figure out concretely what is going on out there in this realm that you're trying to figure out. Like, for example, when I was trying to sleep better, I went right to Scott Walker's book, Why We Sleep. I watched his Google presentation. I watched his TED Talk. I really immersed myself in the most important things that he was trying to share with us. And although it wasn't complete for me until we got the sleep system, it did put me on the right path and it kept me focused on my goal, right? Where I wanted to be. So reading, listening to things that are going to feed you knowledge to solve your problem. And then the third thing I want you to do is pick one or two things that you're actually doing every day to put yourself in a better place. I highly recommend, if you're someone who doesn't want to spend a penny but wants to see an improvement in your health, okay? So this is totally free advice. Find at least 5 to 10 minutes to sit quietly. Just to sit quietly. For those of you who pray, this could be a time of prayer and reflection. For those of you who meditate, this could be a time of meditation. For those of you who don't have that comfort with the spiritual aspect of your life, then just learn to be able to sit in silence. It's free and it's very healing. And I think anyone can find 10 minutes a day. If you're a busy mom, put yourself in a closet, lock the door, make sure your kids are safe, right? Or get up 10 minutes earlier or find time. If you're a really good sleeper, you could get up like 4 o'clock in the morning and do this meditation and then go right back to sleep. You could do it at night, although I don't think it's great at night because I think it can be very soporific and you could just fall right to sleep. So that's a little bit more challenging. But whatever works for you, maybe you're a night person and meditating at night would work for you. But finding that time of silence. So that's one of the free things that anyone can do. And then beyond that, I would say, what are the foods? What's the number one food that's going to feed you the thing that you need to reach your goal? Like, really make friends with that food for the next 90 days and incorporate it into your life. I'm doing I'm focusing on fiber right now. I love fiber foods. I'm learning about fiber foods. I just started to eat green bananas. And I remember I loved green bananas as a kid. So probably there was something to that my body was asking for that I stopped listening to, starting to eat them again, eating kefir, just doing things that I think are going to feed my goal, right? And then the third thing is supplementation and essential oils are a big missing part of a lot of people's lives. And they don't feel like they need to spend the money. They feel like it's, a waste or a gimmick or marketing or some kind of ploy. But I will share with you that doTERRA is a company you can trust, and I encourage you to check them out and to look at their products and to really, ask questions of the company. If you're concerned about something, they're very open book. They will share with you whatever you need to hear and know. I encourage that, kick the tires on everything you do, but supplement with something. Put something in, if you can afford it, that is actually going to increase the speed of your goal. All right. Like, I'm an impatient person. I don't really want to wait for the change to happen. And although I think you can do it the free way with more silence in your life and meditation and prayer, and you can do a little bit better if you use food as medicine and really start healing yourself that way. And then you can even do, the pro tip, right? Get those supplements and essential oils into your life that are going to make the biggest difference. And if you need help putting a plan together, please contact me, carrie.donegan@gmail.com. That's CarrieDonegan@gmail.com. And I will make some suggestions for you in terms of foods or a protocol of essential oils and doTERRA products. I'd be happy to make some suggestions. Again, these are just suggestions. It's not medical advice. I'm just here to be part of your support team and to help you look back, make choices, and move forward in 2024 really positively. Thanks so much for joining me. We've run out of time. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you next week. God bless.